welcome back, guys. We got for our next topic, we got our first guest. We got Gordon. Gordon, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good, man. Good. So we're gonna be talking about the MLB, the NBA. Sorry, the NBA predictions for the playoffs. Gordon, how do you see the East Division going? We're gonna start with that first.
I think clearly Boston, or actually, I think it's Milwaukee would
Correct.
have the best chance of coming out. Actually, I think Milwaukee clearly has the best player in the Eastern Conference in Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Do you think Boston has a chance of potentially overcoming Milwaukee for that first spot? They're only 2 games back.
Oh, I definitely do. Jason Tatum is a superstar. So
Yeah,
yeah.
so the NBA just introduced this new playing round. So right now we have Miami, who is 15 games back, Atlanta, Toronto tied for 17, and then Chicago tied for 18 games back. Um Now can you give us a little insight to why maybe Washington's eliminated and Orlando's not? Because I know some people see that at the bottom of the standings, they're tied, but Washington's eliminated, but Orlando's not. So can you give us some insight as to why that is?
So the first thing that comes to my mind is that Orlando would technically be in over Chicago due to tiebreaker reasons, and Washington would not.
Yeah, that East Conference is going to be fun to watch down the stretch with the season that ends Sunday, by the way. Um, so now moving on to the West Conference. Denver is obviously at the top with Memphis only 3 games back. Do you think Memphis has a shot of maybe overcoming Denver for that first spot?
I don't think they do.
Okay. All right. And then same thing with the West Conference, that playing round. We got LA, New Orleans tied for 12 games back. Minnesota 13 and a half, and then Oklahoma 14 and a half. But Dallas is only 1 game behind Oklahoma, and Utah is only 1.5 games behind Oklahoma for that last playing round spot. How do you see that conference going?
I see the Lakers getting a playoff spot,
Okay.
and I'm gonna go with the Thunder, actually.
All right. So looking at both conferences, who do you think has the best shot of maybe winning the whole thing when it comes all the way down to it?
Okay, so there are two ways I can answer this.
Okay.
There is the team that I think will win it all, and the team that I want to see.
Okay, let's go with the team that you want to see win it all first.
Obviously, we've got the feel-good story with the Sacramento Kings, right? Haven't been to the playoffs since 2006.
Correct.
So it would be quite a story to see them win it all.
Yes, and they have
Unfortunately,
already clinched that spot.
they have already clinched the playoff spot. Unfortunately, a lot of the times you don't really see these Cinderella runs in the NBA like you do obviously in March Madness.
Right.
Um, but when it's all said and done, I think you're going to see the Bucks win on the title.
Do you think Dallas has a shot with maybe with acquiring Kyrie Irving earlier this year?
No, the Mavericks. I do. I think the Mavericks are done.
Oh, right. Evan, do you want to like chime in and saying what do you have to say?
Yeah, so for the East first, I agree. I think the Bucks are out for vengeance in the obviously before the title series last year in the semis, Boston beat out the Bucks. That was a big surprise. People thought the Bucks were going to go back to back. They didn't, and then obviously the Warriors ended up winning. So you think that's going to happen? I think I agree with you. I think in the East Conference, it's a lot more straightforward. It's the Bucks and Celtics at the top, and some other names like the Cavaliers are finally good again. The Bulls might sneak in. I think the West, it's obviously much more up for grabs. You got the Nuggets that are at the top. But how do you see the rest of it? Obviously, the Suns, are still really good. They got Kevin Durant. They're slotting in at 4 right now. Do you think anyone's going to challenge the Nuggets on the West side?
Uh, I think I think the easy thing to say would be the Grizzlies, but I'm actually gonna go with Sacramento. I really think that.
Sacramento. Yeah, I hope so. I think that'd be a really cool story, like you guys said before. But same thing with the
Yeah.
Mavericks. You mentioned this a little bit. You said the Mavericks are done. I agree based on how they've played. They're, one game out right now with the Thunder. They could still make it, but they've shown no indication of making that run. Why do you think they've imploded so bad, especially with getting Kyrie Irving? They would have thought they were getting a boost. Why do you think they've imploded so bad?
I honestly have no idea.
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
with two superstar players, with Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic, you have no idea why they've imploded so bad.
Yeah, there really is no reason with those two superstar players, as you mentioned. There really is no reason to implode that badly. And
Yeah.
they should probably be in a playoff spot as of right now.
Yeah. So I just
I
have
saw
one
this.
more or I just have one more question about like the playoffs as a whole. Like obviously they just started the play in pretty recently. I think last year, correct me if I'm wrong. Uh so 20 teams technically make the playoffs out of only 30 teams. Do you think for a professional sport, do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing? Because I kind of go back and forth on that. But
I've never really thought about that point. Um, it's really hard to say.
to be yeah, because I mean you could be I mean there's going to be teams this year that are under 500 that are going to make the playoffs. You could argue that's for the run, but if in the NBA most teams aren't going on a magical run, like it's something to think about. I think, but
We mentioned magical runs. I say this all the time. Once you get in the playoffs, anything can happen.
The
yeah,
playoffs is it's a whole different season to, I guess, to be said. So, all right. So we do gotta go, but Jordan, thanks for coming on. We appreciate talking basketball with you. We'll have you come on in the future again.